Peggy Mercer, and I'm on YouTube. I can't believe it. I finally made it back. I've been kind of absent, or, I've gone amiss for a few weeks, and I wanted to say hello. This is a live stream, and I'm going to be doing a whole lot of live streams over in the next few weeks because I have a lot to tell you and talk about, and I thought I would just drop in right now this morning to see what condition your condition is in. And hello, it's good to be here. It's good to be back. And I want to play catch up for just a minute. I'm not going to give you the poetry format video, which I promised my friend David up in Tennessee that I would do. I'm not going to do that today, but I am going to do that this coming Wednesday. It's going to be a video, might even be a video that some of you can comment on. We'll see. Right now, this morning on Monday, I want to play catch up and tell you everything that's been going on. You won't believe. I do have a new little book up on Amazon, and I want to show you a little bit about the cover. It's called Mauve Cried, Holy Smoke, a Ghost. And this is a brand new cover for this little book that came out about 7 years ago. And here's what I want you to ask yourself about this particular little Halloween book for ages 6 through 10. Now, Halloween is coming up, okay? And I'm just really touching base with any of you school teachers or any of you folks that have adult children, or any of you teachers watching this right now. Excuse me. I have allergies so bad. But anyway, I wanted to tell you that the book, Mauve Cried, Holy Smoke, a Ghost, is out now on Amazon. You will want to click on this blue cover and get the paperback format if you're a teacher and you want to use it for a reading or something. Then, just get it, look through it, and see why you want to get the blue cover. So you want to ask yourself, Halloween's coming up. We teachers are always looking for homeschoolers, parents, grandparents. We're busy looking for classroom projects that not only will take up some quality time, not just anything. And here's the book to do that, okay? This little book was written originally 7 or 8 years ago. This book was written for a gifted program because they saw the e-version of it and said, oh, we need copies of this. So it was written for a gifted program, and 1,000 kids got copies. And I'm so thrilled with this expansion. This is expanded, revised, and much better in this format here. Mauve Cried, Holy Smoke, a Ghost. So it's a little scary story, and you think about it with me for just a minute. What do we want our kids to have at Halloween other than a whole lot of Twick or tweet? And that's it. So we want them to have fun. We want them to run around in costumes and scream and squeal a little bit and just make a memory. And then we want something else. And I see you people jumping in. Look, I don't know how much I love you people for jumping in here. I love you folks for jumping in here. And I want to say hello to you for just a minute. Hey there. Where are you from? Honey, I can't tell you my street address because the last thing I need right now, well, if you're a mechanic, I will, okay? Because my car's out there with a busted water pump, and the mechanic is coming this afternoon. He's going to be bringing one, putting it in my car. I'm from Georgia, USA, okay? I've been a teacher, a librarian, I've taught adults. Look, there ain't nothing much that I haven't done. I have been able to do a lot of things growing up in the Georgia woods where I live. And I'm here to tell you people, thank you for dropping in. I'm talking about the little book right now that's on Amazon and why it's so special. It is a Halloween project for teachers, mothers, grandmothers, caretakers, homeschoolers, babysitters. Let me tell you why this book is so special. We have created a series called The Little Red Riding Hood, Hood, and that's I'm Little Red Riding Hood, okay? Little Red Riding Hood learning books. And I see my little baby bulldog down there, and I may get him up in the picture just a minute. But these little books here for ages 6 through 10 have got in the back of the book a teacher's lesson plan, a guide for teachers to have this project. And this little book is going to allow your class of students to write their own story about maybe ghosts using local tall tales, or what we say, local lore. And I do want to thank you, Dr. Chad Fussell and his wife, and I just know them all so well, and I want to thank them for the idea originally of me creating this book. I thought the ebook would do and they could read it to the class. The doctor said, no, we want for the gifted students copies of this. And so then I went to the typewriter and I put all this in the format, and I have now expanded this. I have expanded this, and I have added the Mo cried, holy smoke, a ghost. I have added the writer's guidelines at the back of the book for the students. So when you get this book, and you people know me well enough to know me, I'm selling this little book on Amazon for $9.99. I don't really care if anybody buys a copy or not. Just get a copy and make copies. I don't care what you do with it. And use it to beef up and shore up and expand your Halloween projects for your school, for your kids at elementary school. How wonderful this little book is. I have been just bombarded by friends and people who are here online. Hello, what? She's asking me about the book, about the humanity of the book. Well, I will say this. It teaches this little boy who is the star of the little book, and he's a third grader, and his name is Mo Montgomery. They call him Mo for short. And he's looking for his courage because he is kind of secretly scared to death of ghosts, like all the kids are. And you know, the funny thing about being scared is fear can become your friend if you allow it. Just like, for example, you even as an adult, we walk over to the stove and someone has turned on the stove and the stove is hot, but we don't know it. So we lay our hand on the stove to get something maybe, and we get a little bit burned. Maybe we don't get a bad burn or anything, but we learn really quick that we're a little afraid of that stove, and sure enough, we lay our hand on it and we get a little bit burned. So that fear of that hot stove suddenly becomes our friend because we learned a good lesson. The little boy in the book is scared of ghosts, but he's out looking for the ghost because he has created a hayride for his town, which is like a lot of towns in small town America, and is going bust because there's no business, there's no tourists. So he comes up with the idea of having a hayride at Halloween which down in the deep south we have a lot of hayrides, stuff like that. And the hayrides go all around to these so-called scary places. So the little boy is actually scared, and he is thinking that they will go to this big field out there in the middle of nowhere where purportedly, or the legend locally has it, that a ghost will appear. In my lifetime, we all went out there to this place called Cogdale, Georgia, and we sat in our car for hours and hours watching for the ghost light. And sometimes a friend of ours with a motorcycle would come over the top of the hill, and then we would say we saw that light. So this little boy does see the ghost light, and he overcomes his fear, and they're all running in different directions. They overcome their fear, and then they wind up laughing and going back on the hayride wagon to get another load of people. So you ask me, what is the humanity of it? And you must be a teacher. And the great thing about it is the little boy overcomes his fear, and she is asking me my experience. I have a master's degree from Florida State University, and I have taught school all ages, and I was a certified K through 12 teacher. I taught 11 years in an adult behavior change program, also in the state of Georgia. So I am a teacher. I am an award-winning author. I was the author of the year in Georgia out of the governor's office, and that was sponsored by the Endowment for the Arts. And I have taught many writers' conferences and so on and so forth. And so I do have classroom teaching experience, and I have many, many friends who are also classroom teachers, and we interact all the time, and they advise me. So I hope that that will help you there. I'm not just somebody that decided to write a book and include teachers' lessons. I know what I'm doing, and I appreciate you so much for asking these questions. Definitely inquire, okay? And so there is the little book. Now, I wanted to mention that on Wednesday I will be, and I have taught poetry. I've taught poetry in high school English classes that I taught, and I taught poetry in college a little bit, and I have taught poetry, and I have won poetry awards all my life. Yes, a poet, an American poet. Here I sit, okay? So on Wednesday, I will be getting on here and teaching some things about poetry formats and different formats, acrostic poems, different free verse, the father of free verse, etc., and so on. So I'm going to be sharing some of that with you, and of course, I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite poetry with you from some of my favorite poets. And there's a big difference in people that write free verse and just rant and rave and go on about political stuff, and write wonderful poetry that makes you just come to a place where you just stop and just pull up, like we pull our horses up, and say, wait just a minute, that gives me a new feeling about these woods I'm standing in, or this gives me a new feeling about my life, or my time on earth, or my plan, or whatever. I am also a dedicated Christian. I'm a dedicated Christian. I love to write Christian books. I do write Christian books. My last few books, one last book that I wrote, What God Told Me About My Experience with Healing. And so there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up about that. I want to add in that the poetry KDF that I was going to sell, I had trouble with the landing pages. I've turned that into a book. That book has now been released to me by some proofers and people. Hey, it's not perfect, but it is a poetry guidebook book that you can get to guide you as you write your poetry and go on your poetry journey. And that'll be up this afternoon, I pray, on Amazon also, and which is where I have found to be the best ever. I will say this back here about the little book. Mauve cried, "Holy smoke, a ghost! How cute this is!" And because you're a teacher, I sense that there's no bad language in here. There's no swearing. There's no junk. There's no bad vibes. All this is all fun, all good. The children are gonna love it in elementary school. I've given many assemblies to elementary, middle school, and even high school. I have a great reputation for giving good stuff, okay? All good stuff. And so you're going to get good stuff here. I do want to say the poetry book then will be out, and I will give you the poetry video on Wednesday. And I'm going to give you a few more little videos on different writing subjects. Then this is my writing channel, okay? This is Writing for Love and Maybe Money, and I am Peggy Mercer, and it is so nice to have you on here. I appreciate you folks. Please stay with me on YouTube, okay? I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm everywhere, okay, with the tricks on writing. And we have created something we're calling the Lazy Poetry Society, and I'll have a little bit more info on that for those of you who are a little bit more personal to me and actually have contacted me and messaged me. You know more about me than normal. I do love cats. I am fond of my cats, and I care for a lot of rescued cats. And a guy brought a rabbit in the other day. Look, I don't have that rabbit here. He's got it way down the road down there. But I helped get him the supplements together to feed the little things. And I'm a critter lover bar none. I do want to say before I sign out of here and let you folks go drink another cup of coffee, I do want to say, in case I'm missing something, let me just look at this. And so one of these people is saying, I'm from India, and one of these people says something negative. And one of the things people here saying something negative about Trump, honey, you need to get off my website now, because I am, when you speak of Trump, you say it like this. You say President Trump. He is to be respected. Above all, he is the President of the United States. I am his biggest fan. You cannot find a bigger fan in the United States of America or the world as we know it than this one right here. I'm Peggy Mercer. I'm a Trump MAGA patriot. If you don't like me, you don't like anything great about the USA. So you're welcome to get off my website anytime you want to, darling. Or you can speak good things. We only speak good things. Here, look, I've been totally abandoned by my partner of 15 years that I loved so much. I've had to cry, my heart is broken, and so on and so forth. I could say he's a parasite, a crook, and a thief. And he left me high and dry for a younger woman. I'm not going to say all that. I'm not going to talk about him. I did tell him one time that I wanted him to have life insurance, and he didn't like that, and he has that life insurance. But I wanted to say this, to say that. So I finally told him, well, look, if you croak, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to hire a van to be hooked up to the hearse, and I'm going to ride on it with paint, free suits, and shoes, and I'm gonna put all your suits and shoes in it. And that's how we're gonna pay for your funeral. And he didn't like that, so that may be why he left me, but I don't know and don't care. But anyway, I wanted to say thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you people so much. I'm so glad to be back on. I'm so glad to see you. Somebody says, hey, they're from India. I hope you're a teacher in India and you can get this and love it. I do hope that you love this, and I do see you commenting. Hello, everybody. This is a live stream about the new little book that I call Mo Cried. Holy smoke, a ghost. I am your author here, and I am going to be back on Wednesday with poetry. Thank you so much.